What's up, people? You're listening and watching the Raps Talk podcast presented by HipHoopJunkies.com and HoopHeadsNorth.com. Hoops Talk out of Halifax. Our sponsor is FanEssentials.net. This is episode 91. My name is Romy Aquino. I have with me
Sean Francois.
and
Yui Dejected Sampang.
you rejected Samfane. Game 1 of the second round series. The Miami Heat take it 102-96 in overtime. Let's see here. I mean, it was a tough loss. The story, I guess, from the Raptors side was that they were down, but they made a run at the end, and Lowry hit that crazy three-point shot. What did you guys think of that Lowry shot? Did you think it had? Did you think it was even going to get to that point? And that three was going to go in?
Once the second free throw by Hassan Whiteside was missed, I was like, okay, you got a chance. But when I saw Lowry bringing it up, I was like, man, he hasn't hit a shot like all playoffs. Like, I'm hoping this goes in. When it left his hands, I was like, oh, okay, it's got a chance. But then when it was pure, that was just an awesome feeling. But,
Yeah, I yelled out loud, but right before it, when he was trying to get that extra time before the clock to start, I thought he was going to lose it out of bounds there. I was like,
yes.
no,
Oh, yeah,
no.
no, definitely, yeah.
That was close. Good point. That was close.
I thought that too, and I thought maybe there was going to be a late whistle too, that maybe it was out of bounds, and then we were he's gonna hit that shot, but they're never gonna go back, and then you'll see that he was out of bounds or something like that. But yeah, if we just quickly talk about Miami, it was their backcourt that kind of was the difference maker in this game here. Let's see, we got Dragic and Wade both with big games. Dragic had 26 points and D Wade 24 points, and I mean, D-Wade was the difference in overtime. But let's just start from the beginning. Lineup change. Norm Powell inserted into the lineup to defend D-Wade. What did you think of Coach Casey's decision on that?
I was okay with the rationale behind it, but Yui will point out that in the end, it seemed to backfire on them from some key statistic perspectives.
Yeah, it was, they kind of went for the small ball in that situation, and they got killed on the boards. What are the numbers here? 52 to 41, and offensive boards, they gave up 11 to 4. So that led to 13 Miami Heat second chance points as well. And it just seemed like Wade and Joe Johnson at times were just able to shoot over people, and depending on matchups, like who was it? Like Pat Patterson ended up guarding Joe Johnson on some possessions as well, which is weird. I thought they might go away from the two-point guard thing, and they did, and I guess Casey did that for offensive reasons, but look at the numbers, and what's his name? Joseph had 2 turnovers, but when I remember, I think they might have been at crucial points, and DeMar only had 2 turnovers, but feels like more than that. I think probably because of the hero ball shots that he was taking, especially at the end of regulation.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the thing too. I mean, DeRozan. I think there was. He missed 2 big free throws in the closing minute there, and then I know he tried to take it. He took a really bad jumper, I think, at the crucial point where he could have brought it within a couple, and it just didn't seem like the right shot to take at the time. But yeah, like DeMar, he had 22 points, 6 boards. Lowry struggled again, 3 of 13, 1 of 7 from 3. That one 3-pointer being that one that he jacked up at the end of the fourth. But I don't think you're going to have a tough time winning these games if Lowry's not a factor. And we've discussed this in the last podcast, but there's something wrong with him. And
Yeah.
like Sean's talked about last time, it's got to be the elbow, but nobody's talking about it. But just something doesn't look right with Kyle Lowry. It's not the same guy that we've seen that won the 56 game during the regular season. So, what would you think? Is it the experience of the Miami Heat that's gonna kind of dictate this series?
Well, I mean, the Raptors, despite not really playing their best basketball, they're still giving themselves a chance. The one thing I would like to see, because they shot the ball well overall, it was like as a team, 44, almost 45%. The exact, funny enough, the exact same percentage that the Miami Heat took or shot, and they each shot and made the same amount of field goals as well, 40 of 89 attempts as teams. But the thing that really stood out to me tonight were empty possessions and rushed possessions, where they would either earn the ball on a turnover or a good defensive stop, and then absentmindedly just trying to make a pass that really has no chance of making it to where they want to go, and it turns into a turnover the other way, or they get the ball and they bring it up into the half court and they just take a rush shot, or JV's taking this like 17, 18-foot jump shot when there's still a ton of time left on the shot clock. Just mental mistakes, in my opinion, where they're trying to get points quick without any real reason to. Like, the game was a low-scoring game. I mean, 102-96 in overtime. That's a low-scoring affair. So why are you trying to get all these points? It seemed like they were trying to get all these points back in one possession. Just take your time, make sure that you're getting good shots, move the ball. You saw how successful they were tonight when they did swing the basketball. They were finding the open shooter, and they were getting good looks. So to me, if they just play smarter basketball through the entire game, that would put them in a much better position, every time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
you mentioned JV taking that shot. I think he may have had one or two of those shots, but that's okay to a certain extent. He was 10 for 16, 24 points.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like he flashed to the post a bunch of times where they could have found him, and DeMar ended up taking some one-on-one shot. He showed the ability to pass out of the post as well, and he's the only guy that had a positive plus-minus on the night for the Raps. And I mean, as big a night as he had, they were saying, and I agree that he could have been even bigger.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it was one of those nights. The offense just didn't get going. It was kind of like stagnant at points, and like it just didn't. Nothing seemed to. They never went on like any huge runs or anything. So, I mean, it was a little tough to watch. One guy
But
that
that,
kind of. Go ahead.
yeah, that's on the players though, man. Like you can't just say, oh, it was a tough night offensively. Like, yeah, the Heat were playing some pretty good defense, but you just gotta be disciplined to pass the ball around.
Yeah, no, for sure. The one bright spot for Toronto was Terrence Ross. He hit some big baskets, 19 points, a playoff career high. I know there wasn't much to compare to, but it was good to see him be a factor in this game, and maybe he'll be a factor in this series. Maybe just more. This is more along the lines of his game, like this type of playing against Miami. So it was good to see him show up, 19 points. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there was no. We just look at the box score. I mean, Lowry struggled. JV had a decent game. Carroll was solid. Norm Powell just 2 points, 1 of 5, 21 minutes, and yeah, Biyombo, what? He was only in for about 11 minutes. So, it looks like, I mean, Joe Johnson, the experience of Joe Johnson, D Wade, Dragic, Dang. I mean, those are the guys that are kind of going to make a difference in this series. What adjustments do you want to see for Game 2 from the Raptors side?
Just better decisions on offense. Like we just said, like they're the decisions that they made didn't always result in poor shot selection. It resulted in turnovers, which meant that they were wasted possessions. There were just too many times where I saw the Raptors have a chance to execute, and they either took a wild shot or they didn't work the ball around to in a proper fashion to be able to get good shots. There was a couple times where I saw specifically they would have possession of the ball, they'd be right at the rim, and then they try to kick it back out for a three, or there'd be someone down in the corner and they try to swing it across all the way to the other side with like two Miami defenders between there and the opposite wing. Of course that's going to get picked off. Like, I just don't understand why you're trying to make those kind of passes and those kind of plays when it should be all about maintaining possession and trying to get the best look possible. Look what they did late in overtime when they made good, quick decisions and executed out of those timeouts. They had that backdoor cut to JV and to Damari Carroll for easy baskets. If they can make those kind of decisions and make those kind of plays, it's great. Someone on the telecast in the last series talked about, I think it might have been assistant coach Nick Nurse, just talked about DeMar DeRozan and his shot selection just needs to, and his decision making, just needs to make those decisions quick. 0.5 seconds to take a shot, make a pass, or to drive. There seems to be too much, like we talked about earlier in this podcast as well, the ISO ball and stuff. We got to get away from that. The Raptors have to get away from that. I understand that's kind of what got them to this point, but that's not working right now. And like we've talked about this the whole time. The playoffs are about adjustments, and the Raptors, to this point, haven't always made the adjustments I thought that they should have. Thankfully, they got out of the first round, but it's a different opponent, a different situation. They got to step it up now.
Yui, your thoughts on adjustments for next game?
Yeah, I'll still stick to what I was saying. Like, I'd still like to see some James Johnson in there. Like, I think he could provide something that they need, especially on the defensive end. Like even at times, I'm surprised they didn't try to take more advantage of like Dang on, or DeRozan on Dang as well. Like I thought that was a weird matchup for the Raps. Like he could just shoot right over him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't see how the small ball approach here is paying off. I like how they started. I like JB going at Whiteside the way that he did, but I would Leo Routins was saying on the telecast they only went to him twice. He only took 2 shots in the third quarter after dominating the first half.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, the usage of JV, I mean, there's always been an issue with that as well. But, yeah, I mean, I'm just reading this tweet from Josh Bloomberg. Raptors fall to 1-9 in playoff series openers and 0-5 at home. So we've seen this already. We've seen this with Indiana, and they won the 7-game series. So hopefully, like last series, they know what they're facing now with Miami, and they gotta just kind of dictate. They gotta dictate the game and play the kind of game that works for them and what has won them the first round series. So hopefully we can see that on Thursday night. What's the time on that game? I think it's 8 or 8:30 Eastern, I believe. But yeah, game 2 Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. I don't have it. Do you guys have it up there?
No, not in front of me. No.
Yeah, I get it here. So game 2 Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, so same time. Um, but that's it. Any other points you want to make before we sign off?
No.
Uh, I was just gonna say, I think one of the reasons why Bismack didn't play much is because they know that he's not really much of an offensive threat, so that means Whiteside is gonna be able to help out on whoever drives the hoop when
Right.
he's in there. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
no, yeah,
it's
totally
all
makes
on
sense.
JV there.
Hmm.
What else? Even like the way Joe Johnson and Wade can just score over everybody. Like we were just kind of joking about it before, but even Scola still might be an option to, because he's bigger than Deng at the power forward. You know, maybe start the offense, give another offense punch in the post to start the game there, like to put them at a defensive disadvantage there to begin with.
Hmm.
Different
Yeah,
wrinkle to it, rather than just DeMar, Hero, and turnovers and Kyle not shooting well. So
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Demar too. I mean, the ball handling. I mean, that was at the end of the overtime where he kind of. I mean, they had another opportunity and he kind of bobbled it, and then that led to the D Wade layup. I mean,
yeah,
just
Yeah.
things like that
Terrence
where
Ross
you,
had a
I'm guessing a
similar
lot of that is
problem as
fatigue as
well.
well. He's
yeah,
over
no,
42 minutes.
yeah, for sure, no, for sure. Just Demar doesn't have a good history with with his ball handling, but um, just I think just one that was one of those games where just a lot of small things. If they went the other way, I mean this is basketball. I mean you could always just
Oh,
pinpoint it to two different things, but I think there was just a lot of little moments where if they went the other way, um, I mean the Raptors be up 1-0.
one last point.
Yeah.
Shame on the fans who left early.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's
Yeah,
Oh,
terrible.
I say that for all professional sports. Just stay till the end. You already paid for
Yeah,
it. Most of you,
exactly.
most of you paid for your ticket. So just stay through the final moments. And you never know what's
mm,
going to happen.
But yeah,
I know.
even though it was 6 points with like 27, like close to 30 seconds left, like that's an
That's nothing.
eternity in the NBA.
Hmm.
I know. I mean, what's a good leave to leave early, Yui? What's a good lead?
I'll go by what I feel safe as a fan with. So I'd say up by 20 with under 4 minutes remaining. And in the game seven for the Raptors, they were up by 16 with like 6 minutes remaining. I didn't feel safe there. I was close to feeling safe, but I didn't feel safe there.
Yeah,
And I'd say over 30 with like 10 minutes left.
yeah.
Then you can start to feel comfortable. But anything under those numbers for me, I'm like, no, I'm still nervous if I'm hoping for that team.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from Donovan Bennett, and he took a shot of all these guys that had left, and they were trying to get back to the courtside seats, but I mean, too late. Anyhow, game 2 on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Stay tuned to the blog, tiphoopjunkies.com, hoopheadsnorth.com, on Twitter, at Romy Kino, at Yui the Jock, at Sean Francois. We up.